The Zephyrian High Council had ruled the galaxy for 3 millennia. From their crystalline spires on Zephyr Prime, they commanded 1,000 systems, controlled the fate of billions, and enforced their will through the most advanced military the universe had ever seen. They were the apex predators of space, the undisputed masters of all they surveyed. When the first human ship limped into their territory, bleeding atmosphere and radiation, the Council barely took notice. Another primitive species, they assumed. Another civilization ripe for subjugation or extinction, depending on their usefulness. Admiral Kethrix, the Council's military commander, studied the intercepted transmissions with mild curiosity. The creatures called themselves humans and spoke of something they termed Earth. Their technology was laughably primitive. Chemical rockets, basic fusion drives, and weapons that wouldn't scratch Zephyrian shields. When the human delegation requested an audience, requesting peaceful coexistence, Kethrix's mandibles clicked in what passed for Zephyrian laughter. "Grant them an audience," he told his subordinates. "Let them see the glory of Zephyr Prime before we decide their fate." The human ship, they called it the Endeavor, docked at the outer rim of the capital station. From it emerged 5 beings that walked on 2 legs, their pale skin covered in crude fabrics. Their leader, a female, who identified herself as Captain Sarah Chen, spoke the universal trade language with a thick accent that grated on Zephyrian hearing membranes. "We come seeking peace," Chen said, standing before the towering council chamber. "Our species is young, our reach limited. We ask only for the right to exist among the stars." Council Speaker. Vorthak's 6 eyes gleamed with predatory interest. "And what do you offer the Zephyrian Empire in exchange for this?" "Existence?" Chen's response surprised them. "Our perspective, our innovation, our determination." She paused, meeting Vorthak's gaze without flinching. "Our friendship, if you'll have it." The council chamber erupted in harmonics that humans couldn't understand, but that clearly conveyed derision. Admiral Kethrix stepped forward, his biomechanical augmentations whirring softly. "Little mammals," he said, his voice carrying the weight of conquered worlds. "You misunderstand your position. We do not negotiate with prey. You have 7 standard days to surrender your homeworld and submit to Zephyrian rule. Refuse and we will demonstrate why 1,000 species have learned to fear our approach." Captain Chen's expression never changed. "I see. And if we choose to defend ourselves?" "Then you will join the others in extinction," Kethrix replied. "Your primitive weapons against our infinite fleet? Your small world against our stellar destroyers? The outcome is predetermined." Chen nodded slowly. "I understand. Thank you for your clarity." She turned to leave, then paused. "One question, Admiral. In all your conquests, have you ever encountered a species that fought differently than you expected?" Kethrix's bio-augmented brain processed thousands of tactical scenarios in microseconds. "No species fights differently. They all follow the same patterns: desperation, then surrender, then extinction. Your species will be no different." "Perhaps," Chen said. "But humans have a saying. The graveyards are full of indispensable men. Sometimes the pattern breaks." The human delegation departed, and the Zephyrian war machine began its inexorable advance toward the small blue world at the edge of the spiral arm. Long-range sensors showed a planet of moderate technology, modest defenses, and approximately 8 billion inhabitants. Admiral Kethrix assigned it a threat level of 0.3, barely registering on their scale. The invasion fleet numbered 10,000 ships, each one capable of glassing a continent. They expected the human homeworld to surrender at first sight of their overwhelming force. Instead, they found something unprecedented in 3,000 years of galactic conquest. The humans fought back, not with advanced weapons or superior technology, but with something the Zephyrians had never encountered: absolute, unflinching refusal to surrender. When their orbital platforms fell, humans fought from the ground. When their cities burned, they fought from the ruins. When their military collapsed, civilians picked up weapons and continued the resistance. But it wasn't just their refusal to yield that shocked the Zephyrians. It was their tactical creativity. Humans didn't fight the way conquered species were supposed to fight. They used guerrilla tactics that exploited Zephyrian psychological blind spots. They turned the invaders' own technology against them through captured equipment and ingenious modifications. They coordinated resistance through methods that bypassed Zephyrian communication monitoring. Most disturbing of all, they learned. Every defeat taught them something new about their enemies. Every fallen human position became a lesson that spread instantly across their global network. The Zephyrians found themselves fighting an enemy that evolved tactically in real time, becoming more dangerous with each passing day. What should have been a routine 3-day conquest stretched into weeks, then months. The cost began to mount, not just in resources, but in something far more precious to the Zephyrian military machine: their aura of invincibility. Admiral Kethrix requested reinforcements twice, then 3 times. Each request was met with increasing skepticism from the High Council. How could primitives resist the might of Zephyr Prime? The answer came when human saboteurs infiltrated a Zephyrian command ship and broadcast Captain Chen's final message across the galaxy. To every species watching this transmission, humans chose to fight because some things are worth dying for. Freedom is one. The right to exist among the stars is another. Today, Earth falls, but the idea of resistance will spread to every world you've conquered, every species you've enslaved. You've taught the galaxy to fear you. We're teaching them to hope. The human homeworld did fall eventually. The last pockets of resistance were eliminated after 18 months of brutal warfare that had cost the Zephyrians nearly half their invasion fleet. In a gesture of spite, Admiral Kethrix ordered a human flag, recovered from the ruins of their capital, to be planted on the radioactive crater that had once been their seat of government. But Captain Chen had been right about one thing: the pattern had broken. Within a year, 17 subjugated species had begun their own resistance movements, each one incorporating tactics learned from the human example. Within 5 years, the Zephyrian Empire was fighting brushfire wars across half the galaxy. Within a decade, their 1,000-year reign had collapsed entirely. The last transmission from Zephyr Prime, before their crystalline spires went dark forever, was a simple acknowledgement of the truth they had learned too late. Sometimes the smaller, weaker species wins not through superior firepower, but through the simple refusal to accept that defeat is inevitable. The human flag still stood on their homeworld, a monument to the species that had taught the galaxy its most valuable lesson. That freedom, once glimpsed, could never be truly extinguished.